Hello everybody, my name is Safi and welcome to Overcoming the Diet Mindset podcast. I am 7 years post-op and a training psychotherapist. On this podcast, my aim is to vanish crappy, fad dieting and unhelpful thinking, to reclaim our mindset with a little rewiring so we can stop yo-yo dieting and get off the roller coaster for once and for all. Well, hello everybody. I can't believe it's almost the end of March. Where is time going? I haven't managed to do a podcast because my laptop broke, my microphone broke, so everything that could go wrong did go wrong. However, I am now equipped with a brand new laptop and a new microphone, along with a lovely podcast editor. So I want to just have a chat and round up of my month. I did some exciting stuff at the beginning of the month that I would like to share with everybody and give you some of my views on some subjects. So on the 4th of March, it was World Obesity Day. And just before that, I was invited to a workshop for a local authority who was commissioning their Tier 2 weight management service. It was an amazing experience because I was able to give my personal experience of somebody that's had weight loss surgery, somebody that had lived with obesity, and hopefully impact the policy making or the decision of the services that are commissioned going forward for that local area. I was one participant, but there was another lady also, and we originally got the invitation or put our hand out for it through Obesity Voices, which is amazing. They've got a Facebook page and they do a lot of advocacy work for making sure that people who struggle with obesity, people who live with obesity, people who've had weight loss surgery, that their voice is heard and they are part of the policies, and we are the heart of any any intervention and treatment that is that's commissioned. So my part was, it was intimidating. I shared my story. I think they got a lot from it. I think it was well received. I went into with the fact that I was a child refugee and how not having enough food was what started me off on that journey. I discussed a lot about a lot of very difficult subjects such as my mom's mental health, her struggles with obesity, and the fact that because she didn't speak English, she was never offered any kind of weight management service or any kind of weight management intervention, and I think there's a missed opportunity for a lot of people, especially people who have barriers, whether it's they can't advocate for themselves because of disabilities or mental health or language barriers, and that's something that they were concentrating on, and there's something that they are aware of, that there are these added barriers for certain communities in accessing the right support at the right time. I did also, share my experience of going to the GP, explaining to them my struggles, my emotional distress that my weight was causing, and the fact that I, by all means, no, I definitely have had disordered eating. I've had long periods where I have restricted, where I haven't ate. I have, trigger warnings. I've gone on, Anna websites for inspiration. So I've had some really dark stages through the last 2 decades of trying to lose weight before I came to weight loss surgery. So I really try to convey that let them see the people behind it. Let them see the emotions of feeling like, that you're a failure and that you're the one that's got the problem. Why can't you lose weight, and how society, whether it's unconscious bias is very much there, weight stigma is very much there, especially in the medical field. And as somebody who has a sister for a GP, I am aware that they get very little training around that. And that's something that needs to be rectified very quickly, considering how many people have got weight issues in this country. So the other lady who also was sharing her experiences, it was fascinating because we, on paper, we've got the same problems. We've both had weight loss surgery, but our stories couldn't be different, even if we tried. So that just highlights the fact that actually there isn't gonna be one solution for all of us. We're gonna need a suite of interventions for different people, because we're different now. We're biologically, culturally, our lived experiences are very different. So that was really nice. It was the great contrast of two people who have struggled with the same issue but still have had very different experiences. And the lady had gone through the NHS and she had a lot more insight into going through tier 2 weight management and then going through tier 3. So that was interesting, and I shared my journey with the fact that I went abroad and from struggling as a child with childhood obesity and then getting into the cycle of yo-yo dieting, diet clubs, restricting, and ultimately spending a decade or even decade and a half possibly of just constantly feeling overwhelmed, like a failure, the emotional impact that had on me, and the fact that I already had a lot of trauma and childhood adversity, and then add feeling like a failure because I couldn't lose the weight that diet industry was selling to me, or the narrative that they were giving to me was the fact that I should lose weight. Why can't I lose weight? Everybody else loses weight. Everybody loses a stone in 6 weeks. So, and I guess one problem that I had was everybody was slim. And I'm not saying everybody needs to be overweight to understand, but everybody was very much slim. There was a lot of men. I stood out a lot because everybody it's very, there's very little diversity in that part of the, I went up north, and I think that's one thing they also struggle with is engaging with smaller communities or minorities who require weight loss support, but they can't engage them. But that's another story for another day. What I got from the presentation that they had put out was, I have a big problem with the 6 weeks policy. They will give people 6 weeks of treatment, whether it's 6 week access to the gym, whatever it may be. I don't know. I think any intervention is better than none, but I don't think we're going far enough. I think it's always going to, and this may be controversial, and it's my, it's my podcast, so I can say whatever I like. But I think we need to stop with the bandage solutions to things and look at long-term impact, because if we really support people to make the right choices, receive the right support at the right time, then long-term, actually, everybody's better off. That's the taxpayer, that's the burden on the NHS, that's the individual that's going through weight loss surgery. No, weight loss, the individual struggling with weight, actually. They are not gonna have to feel like, that it's just another thing that they failed at. Ultimately, that's going to impact on their mental health, and they're just going to be in that cycle of just being re-traumatized every single time that they feel that they have failed again, they have fallen off the wagon. And 6 weeks, at least I do not think 6 weeks is enough time for behavioral change, to be really a new behavior to be really embedded. I definitely, I'm not a scientist, or I'm not a neuro, specialist in any of these things, but I do not think 6 weeks is enough time, especially if you're working with somebody who has struggled with weight issues for a number of years. Then I think the intervention needs to reflect the fact that this is deep rooted. We're not gonna. It's not just it's not a quick fix won't solve it, because if quick fix did, then we would have sorted it out ourselves. We would have, Slimming World would have done the job. You know, drinking some shakes would have done the job. Or throwing some shakes around the, dance floor would have, done the trick. So it's psychological ultimately, and that's what I believe, and that's what I shared. And the other lady also talked about therapy being something that she had received, and which made a huge impact on her journey so far. She had regained, I don't want to go too much into her, into her stuff, but she had regained enough to receiving this therapy. She was in a happier place, losing weight, and she it was glowing reviews for therapy. I also stated that therapy has been the one thing that's made me feel that it's okay. It's not always going to be about the food. I've learned to be kinder to myself. I've learned to look at it as a process, rather than wanting everything to be better like I did before, especially coming from that culture of quick fixes. And I hope that they do, they do listen to those feedback given by people who have walked the walk and understand the true impact and the true, nature of this disease, this whatever it may be. It's something that has to be taken more seriously. So I did that, and I really did enjoy it. We had a bit of we did a bit of speed. I don't know if you've ever been to speed dating, but you go and sit on different tables, and you go and have a bit of, we talked about different things, and we brainstormed, and, they want to develop a gold standard service. So I take my hat off to them. They've got the right idea. They really want to make that change. But I suspect the change, I don't know, we're being short-sighted. And as somebody who works in this industry, I know it's all about data and proving, what works short term. But I'm taking my hat off to them. And I think any small steps taken in the right direction is something to celebrate. So I celebrate them, and I celebrate the other lady who was there, who wanted to share her views. And I will continue to advocate at every opportunity that I get, so we feel less, less overwhelmed, less overlooked, and we get the support, and then, the treatment we all deserve. Okay, my monologue is over there, my rant for today. But another thing I want to discuss is the weight loss injection. So, this is my opinion, only my opinion. I haven't tried it. I'm not a doctor. So this is just my opinion from what I've read, what I've seen, and I just fancy sharing it with you guys. what I think is, number one, I'm all for any support that people who are struggling with their weight can get. And I'm really excited for those people who possibly have regained after weight loss surgery, that there is another solution, that there is another treatment, and it's not almost like you've now used up your last chance, which before really going into this work and looking and researching and listening to different podcasts, I thought, weight loss surgery was your last option. You could have a revision, but after that, there's nothing else anybody can do for you. And there's only so many revisions that one can have. There's only so many revisions that one should have, because end of the day, it's an operation. It's not something we should, I don't think it's good for anybody to always have that as the operations. It's very risky. You take your own life, every time. You're risking your life every time you go under the knife. So I personally think, from what I read on, what I've seen, is that there's not enough research being done. That worries me a little bit, that the true impact is not understood. So are we using fat people as a bit of guinea pigs? That worries me a little bit. And then the fact that cost is very expensive. And then another factor that I don't like is that it's been really, celebrities have used it, and anything that's kind of been sexed up by the Kardashians or any of those groups of people is always not very healthy, because if it gets into the wrong hands, and then it can lead an individual down a very dark path. We know that there's been medication in the past that people have died from, that have given people heart problems. So it's definitely something that should be taken with caution. It should be explored with a medical professional, and get yourself as much information as possible. Be informed and find all the information you could find online, so you can make a really, really informed decision on what you're taking and what are the benefits, what are the risks, and what's the long-term impact. If it's true that you're on this medication for 3 months, and then it gives you horrible side effects, and then as soon as you go off, you gain the weight back. That's no different to all the other fad diets that we go on, and then you put the weight back on. So, I don't know, weigh it up, go to your GP, do what's right for you at every turn, and that's what I always advocate. So next week, I'm gonna hopefully have some interviews. Actually, I'm gonna do some interviews. My personal therapist will be one that I'm lining up, and she had worked for the NHS for a long time and did the pre and post, I think, assessments for the NHS. So she's an expert in this field. She knows a lot of information. She's seen the ups and downs, and she's amazing. And then I'm gonna have a gentleman also that I met online, and he's been really plays an active part in bringing the community together. He runs a lot of meetups, and I think one thing that's really important for us is community, and he's figured out how to get people together, and I love attending his lives, and so that would be amazing. I'm going to do that. I just need to get some dates together, and then after that, hopefully I'll have more book reviews. If you've got any preferences, a book that you would like me to review, please do let me know. Yep, so until next week, take care. I appreciate you for being here with me. I hope you got some value from this episode. If so, please give me a review. It will make me super happy and support others from our community to find the podcast. Share it with your Barry bestie. Connect with me on Instagram at Gastric Mindset. It'll be wonderful to hear from you.